Hello and welcome to the Talkcast Podshow, the #1 show on the internet and your #1 source for Water Tower related humor. I'm your host, the Animaniac. That came out better in my head.
You have the Animaniac there. That's what you call your fans.
I do, but I can't be the Lanimaniac.
Why do we commission Bracky then?
Because
I know. Look at these wonderful pieces of art. They're so wonderful. Anyway, I'm joined this week by the slappiest of squirrels, Kaiser Neko.
You're just making me sad now.
I know. And a man who wears a disguise to look like human guys, but he's not a man. He's a Zito boo. What's up, Zito?
That's awesome. Hell yes. I'm all about this now. I am like 10% happier than I was walking in. Fuck yeah.
Excellent. My job is done here today. If I can increase somebody's happiness by 10%, I'll be happy.
I'm apparently the worst character.
Apparently. But had one of the best episodes in this fucking series. So.
Oh, yeah.
I did like that episode quite a bit.
It definitely stood out. So, gentlemen, it has been 12 years.
12?
Wait, longer than that. 22 years since Animaniacs has been on the air. 1998 is when it last graced Kids WB, aired on Fox Kids back in September of 1993. It is literally, I guess it's not spanning a generation, because this show definitely does not feel like it was like, this reboot does not feel like it was targeted towards the same demographic it was back then.
Well, as in age demographic?
Age demographic. It's definitely targeted to the same people that it was back then.
Yeah, well, it doesn't feel like it changed, more that it just, went with the times more than it did age with its audience.
Yeah, it grew up in terms of like subject matter and odd body horror.
Yeah.
No, I disagree, but go ahead, Scott. Let me hear your opinion first.
Well, I was just going to say the show is actually going to be airing in some different countries, like on TV, which I found very interesting. It will be, I believe, in Canada. That's going to be the case, if I'm correct. It's not going to be on Hulu. It's going to be on TV. Either Teletoon or the other one. I forget what it's called. YTV.
Something like that.
Canada Hulu.
YTV, thank you. Oh, hey, Kai Jordan. Yeah, but it's going to be on YTV, and which I find fascinating, considering, this is a very this show knows it's streaming. This show knows that it's not only owned by Hulu, but that it's primarily going to be consumed via streaming platforms.
It makes a lot of jokes about that, although it has seasonal episodes. Which like it has a Halloween episode,
which I found I was really a big fan of that.
I was half expecting the last 3 episodes to be Halloween, Thanksgiving, and then Christmas.
I was too at that point. I'm like, oh, so they're gonna do some holiday episodes in there, okay?
Oh man,
and no, just Halloween.
I really wish they'd done an actual Christmas episode.
I kind of don't, honestly, because
actually, now that the moment I said it was like. But then again, Christmas episodes are so overdone.
Remember the fucking back in the old show where they sang to Jesus Christ?
You remember Wacko's Wish?
Yeah, I was about to fucking say that.
Wacko's Wish was good. I like Wacko's Wish.
As the show likes to point out, it's the #1 box office grossing Animaniacs movie of 1998.
Yeah.
So. But it came out. There's been a lot of fanfare going on about this show for about 2 years, I think, ever since it got announced.
Yeah. Oh man, the fever pitch that this damn thing hit. Like, I feel like Animaniacs is one of the first times we've seen like a full-on, wholly dedicated reboot like this. One that is like, no, this is going to be exactly the same show as you remember, just updated for modern times.
Yeah. Why? Like that Jurassic Park opening bit claims, like, oh, widescreen format, the crisp animation. What's going on here?
Yeah. Although I gotta go ahead and just be the asshole here and say one thing though. The main problem that everyone had, it was like the one black sheep issue when it came out to the show, like coming out again.
Hold on. Okay, go ahead. I'm curious if we're on the same track.
Is it the Ren and Stimpy curse?
As in?
What? Go ahead and tell us, what is the Ren and Stimpy curse?
Well, apparently there's a lot of people who believe that the animation style kind of harkens back to that sort of thing, which was like a big 90s situation, like the gross out humor and everything. Like when you were saying like this thing has a lot of body horror and whatnot. I feel like that encompasses the 90s more than it does one singular show, but because Ren and Stimpy was such a fucking smash hit and because of the infamy of its creator, right. The problem is that now everyone kind of like looks back to that show, and if anything kind of looks like a little like askewed or body horror-ish, or dare I say it looks a little R. Crummian, then they're gonna go, oh, it's got the Ren and Stimpy curse, so it must be under the same vein of John K.
I don't. So when I remember the old Animaniacs cartoons and stuff like what was it? Oh, Hysteria.
Yes,
yeah, Hysteria and Tiny Toons.
The show that got fucking shit canned because the conservatives got mad about the truth. That's literally why it got shut down.
Yeah, it's. I don't want to talk about. Man, I was about to say I don't want to get political, but.
That was the point of the whole show.
But this show is like, it gets insanely overtly political a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't even know where to start because I feel like there are a billion things that I want to talk about here. But first, real quick, I want to touch on what you said about the animation style. Yeah. This does remind me a lot, actually, of Hysteria with all the because there were a lot of human characters this time around. Like a lot of human characters this time around. And I'm not going to say an inordinate amount because I remember there was a lot of animal characters in old Animaniacs, more than the humans if I'm on track. Although Pinky and the Brain they're basically the only animals while everyone else is human. But here I felt it was just a lot of human characters, primarily because they're trying to talk about a lot of modern pop culture, and so they're like, no, let's just use people, no fucking metaphors or anything like that, but. They did definitely go to the fucking mat to give these huge, crazy expressions to the people this time around. I feel like everyone looks more stylized than they used to. And this, I swear to God, this show is just character acting, character acting animation, the show. Because, wow, they really lean into every expression and movement just being so exaggerated and large and smooth.
I feel like that's what old Animaniacs was, though, too, because like it felt like it was at least carrying forward that type of style that it used to have, like that overacting, the overemphasis, like whenever they're doing a pop culture reference. The one that got me the most this season was the Seth Meyers joke. Like,
oh, God, yes.
Just the blatant Seth Meyers, like his horrifying smile. It's just like, ah.
I feel all the over the top stuff kind of comes from the fact thanks to, if this name is familiar to anyone, TV's Kyle on Twitter, Kyle Carosa. He did a lot of the storyboards for the show, and a lot of his artwork kind of like pushes that same over exaggeration kind of deal, which really like harkens back to when the animation studio was sent back into like Japan and Australia. They used a lot of those for like WB animations.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, and this time, actually, I'm not really sure what studios they were working with this time around, but I think they were primarily European and American. And everybody
Studio Yada. Titmouse.
So a lot of people were talking about, like, I can't believe they got an actual anime studio. I'm like, well, they kind of didn't, actually, because Yada does anime good. They do it real well.
Yeah.
But
that anime sequence had that sort of uncanny valley-ish feeling to it, where it's like, this doesn't feel like anime. But it looks like anime, but it doesn't feel like anime.
Which completely fucking fits with the tone of the show.
Absolutely.
I do. Real quick, I'm going to echo a sentiment that has been loudly, profoundly loud since this reboot came out. That anime segment is such a dramatic leap forward in terms of the old style of anime parody that these cartoons used to do. Like I've got a lot of critiques of this reboot, but in that regard, damn guys, like that reminds me of Gumball. Gumball actually did an anime sequence with Studio 4C, an actual like full-on Japanese studio, and it was amazing. And this harkened back to that, but even more over the top and crazy. And talk about a fucking anime parody. That was amazing.
Especially when you look back at like Dexter's Lab, it's like, oh, Monkey is driving car now. Oh,
yeah, that's all we used to have.
Like that was anime to the people that were animating then, because they grew up with like Speed Racer. Like that's what they had.
Yeah,
anime is different now. Anime has changed.
Indicative of when anime has changed and grown up with the times, and now we have to grow up with them. It's like, oh fuck, what's going on here?
Sorry, I'm just imagining Ron Perlman. Anime has changed.
Anime has changed.
Anime never changes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. Solid Snake is the one that says anime has changed.
Colonel, there's a dog puppy child here. Fucking the one reason
puppy
why
monkey boys.
Yeah, the fucking. The reason why Gumball has it up on the fact that it actually got a real legit anime studio is because Gumball was made in the UK, and they are literally right next door to those studios. So if you're closer across the pod, the chances of you actually collabing with another studio is way higher.
I mean, despite having to go through China and Russia, but yeah, sure.
You're right there, basically.
Hey, if they want to play ball, that's fucking awesome on them.
In fact, I would say Burbank might actually be maybe physically closer.
If not, Hawaii certainly is.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that anime sequence, just to get it out there, like we've been talking, like, because I feel like it is one of the biggest things this season. It is easily the thing this season that stands out the most in terms of this reboot, and I think they knew that going into the going into its premiere.
Oh, that clip was flying around everywhere even before it premiered.
Yeah, I was fucking spoiled on that. That was the first thing I got spoiled on.
I won't lie. I was like, no, like all over my Twitter. Here's the full clip, and I'm like, fuck you. I don't want to watch the clip. I want to watch the episode.
Luckily, though, all of the fucking clips that have been going around, like on YouTube and whatnot, they're all like punchlines, but with no context. And the rest of the episodes actually have a lot of other jokes to follow through that seeing the spoilers means absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Like I had no problem because like that I did not expect that episode, and it took me a while to like
process
to the show's
it?
credit. Yeah, to the show's credit, when the guy showed up and started like giving everybody buns, I was like, okay, what are they going for here? And then the metaphor just got more and more like
blatant.
Dense. It's like, no, here, this is what it is. It's in your goddamn face. Just keep pushing it past so that nobody can misunderstand what their messaging is.
And then fucking Wacko actually had to like just look at the camera and go like, why are we all talking about like, what was it? It was like shoes. Oh yeah,
Wacko.
Talking
about shoes?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Wacko, because America has a problem with wearing too many shoes.
No,
America has a problem with high capacity shoe violence.
Which, so that episode overall, is really strange to me because on one hand, it's funny. It is a funny episode. Like I legitimately laughed all throughout, especially because I don't know who is playing the bun dude. I don't know who that is.
I can look at the IMDb real quick.
His performance is so stupendous. And the animation to go along with them also
buns.
Other owners of multiple buns. The leaning into the B every time. But I think the thing about it is it is a strange episode to watch because we live in a very different era of how political and satirical and like social commentary works. And I feel if this had come out, say, 22 years ago, first of all, that anime segment wouldn't have been in there. But I don't know how people would have reacted to this particular joke because it's taking this really, really serious subject and then just not really tackling it with any sort of sincerity, but more just, oh, hey, all these things that are guns, we've just replaced them with buns. They've got no real, like, solid commentary other than, hey, we've got a bun problem. Which, yes, we do, in fact, have a bun problem.
And Australia managed to solve it pretty quickly. Good day.
Yeah, no, but so here's the thing. The whole buyback thing in Australia worked very well. Would it work here? I don't want to get into that. That's the weeds, and I want to leave the weeds alone. And a lot of people are probably looking at this episode as, is this trying to provide answers? Is this saying one position is better than the other? And I'm over here like, can we not overthink it? Because by and large, I feel like it's just we took gun violence and replaced all the guns with bunnies. Can it just be that?
You say that, but this show wears its political leanings on its sleeves.
It really does, though. And that's the reason that it's so difficult, because on one hand, I want that to just be a fun little episode with a little bit of social commentary and an obvious allegory. But at the same time, it's like, oh, but we want to be like satirical and biting, and it's tough, because with that subject, it is so complicated that if you even approach trying to give a legitimate critique, you gotta come sort of correct. Otherwise, you look bad. And that's why it's just difficult with that particular episode. Like, because again, I laughed. I found it very funny. Christopher and I were just sitting back like, this is a fucking fever dream. But it's a little bit difficult in terms of like being able to take anything away from it.
I mean,
that episode specifically.
I mean, like the whole, like, especially with like shit like the Tucker Carlson fucking episode where
yes.
Bucker Tuxon or whatever.
Bucker Tuxon or some shit. They just kept fucking around with his name.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name was. I think it was Bucky Carson.
On faux news.
Yes. The thing is that unfortunately, when you make stuff like that, and when you like have something that's going to have a hot button issue, there's no way that you can't like make jokes and not make any one side look bad. But that's kind of like, they hope their audience will at least see past that. And in 2018, maybe that could have flown. But watching anything now and looking back at it as an adult, you're like, Jesus Christ, this is a time capsule.
Yeah. If you think about it, though, like old Animaniacs, it always had its kind of finger on the pulse of pop culture. And what is pop culture right now when literally everybody is focused on the fucking politics because the president wouldn't shut the fuck up?
I have the
like,
best
that is
two
pop
eyes.
Culture.
The best two eyes.
Yeah,
the best two eyes.
Yeah, So yeah, that from the very beginning. So let's talk. I actually want to go back to the beginning with the opening theme song.
Yeah, they changed that up.
They did change a couple of things, and I actually believe both some of the qualities, some of the positive qualities, and the negative qualities can be found in that opening. Just in that opening. I think it is actually a microcosm of what the show is. It looks almost identical to the original, with some significant changes in a couple of spots that kind of break up the flow of what the original was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Because you have... so first of all, I actually like the change of Dot has wit. Because they don't focus on her being overtly cute in this. Because here's the thing. They're all cute now. They're all adorable. The design changes that they made have maximized their adorableness. Dot is no longer significantly more cute than either Yakko or Wacko. She's just more girly. So to that extent, ramping up the wit part of her was actually probably better. Because now that kind of emphasizes the fact that she is biting in this one. She is like full, and they embrace it. They let her just be this character who's got a lot of teeth. And I was actually a pretty big fan of that. So the idea of, yep, it's no longer Dot is cute, Dot has wit, good. And then they kind of make another change. And that's when Pinky and the Brain, who want to rule the universe, a brand new cast of characters, a brand new cast who tested well in focus group research. Gender balanced, pronoun neutral, and ethnically diverse. Which, by the way, all of that flows very well.
The trolls will say, we're so passé.
But we get meta first.
Yep. And it's really funny. And by the way, that ending segment, I like that. Nice, biting, funny. But if you watch the original, that segment, Pinky and the Brain who want to rule the universe.
Good feathers flock together, Slappy whacks him with her purse.
Yes, let's show our age, gentlemen. Show our age.
it's introducing the entire cast of characters that isn't there anymore. So they needed to fill that with something.
Yeah, and it's awkward. It's awkward as hell because they start the introduction of the cast and then they just jump to a new cast of characters, and it's like, what new cast of characters?
Yeah, it's literally the one lady and like the fucking strongman Arnold type.
Well, I mean, do you count those like obviously drawn by Titmouse animations where it was like the alien and the little girl and the fucking John DiMaggio gnome that screams at everyone?
Oh my god.
Those two things I wanted to get into just in like a little bit here, because those were the two things that I felt actually really resonated with old Animaniacs. Those little weird experimental animations.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But so yeah, the opening is fun. It's good, and again, I actually really like the lyrics. I really do like those lyrics, but they're out of place. They feel awkward because they're no longer what they were supposed to be, where they introduced the other characters. Those characters who are now gone. This whole reboot is now carried entirely by the Warner Brothers and Pinky and the Brain.
I think the whole show was carried by Pinky.
They even mentioned that Dr. Scratch and Sniff. By the way, spoilers. I feel like this is obvious. Dr. Scratch and Sniff doesn't even show up until the last bloody episode of the season. And even then they mentioned it's like, man, where is everybody? And again, they make an amazing joke out of that. Like that episode where they explain where everybody else is actually, I think that's like
episode 3 or so.
It's actually pretty horrific until the end. Like
it gets kind of weird.
Yeah,
and then it gets weirder.
And then it got weirder. And you know what? I actually don't. That is something I don't know if I want to spoil. But man, the ending of that episode, I don't know if that's like fanficky or if that's just fucking clever as hell, but it worked for me.
How could it be fanficky if the show's premise is based on the same thing? That's like when someone tells you, I don't know if I have these two OCs I made. I don't know if I should pair them because it might be shippy. You made them!
It can very easily be fanficky because I'm guessing some of the writers of this show were fans of it when they were kids.
Yeah, because none of the original writers came back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. None of them were brought back. They wanted to work on it, and I'm of two minds. On one hand, yeah, you guys were really good on that old show, but, you know, this is a new generation with new, like, comedy has changed. On the other hand, they also got a bunch of old writers, like, I mean, older as in, like, they're actually old, to write this show. So it's like, well, you didn't get modern writers, you just got different writers. So it's like, okay.
I mean,
it worked out, though.
I'm just going to say, yeah, it worked out, but I could kind of see the creative process where it's just like, we could bring back everyone who made the 90s version of the show better, or like what it was, but we don't want that. We want to have people who live in the now make it better for what it is today.
Yeah.
And while that seems callous, it's actually a smart choice to do.
And I agree. Again, my point was just that if you get new writers, get younger, more in the know writers. Again, they just
I'm gonna fucking sit here and tell you that may not be such a great idea because
always.
Because then we get shit like oversaturated meme nonsense in a lot of children's cartoons nowadays. There's obvious fucking like, oh, I used to go on 4chan. Here's a joke from like 2005. Enjoy it, children.
I have to admit, I'm not a huge Thundercats Roar guy.
That and there's like, but there is literally an episode where Brain just tries to become a meme to take over the world.
Well, that was great. I loved that.
Yeah.
Great setup. I was actually, when I saw the Of Mice and Memes, I was like, oh no.
They aren't, are they?
The kiss of death.
It worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, they actually did it really cleverly.
Oh, dude, I think Pinky and the Brain outshined the Animaniacs of this entire fucking season.
They had some really solid segments.
The fucking 50s episode? Put some mayonnaise in my coffee. This is the 50s. I fucking lost my shit. I was on the floor at that one.
And I think that was the only Pinky and the Brain episode that was overtly political, too, because it felt like the Animaniacs carried the political commentaries while Pinky and the Brain just, here's your yuck yuck ha ha funnies.
Here's your low humor. And then Pinky and the Brain had like hidden high humor.
Oh, by the way, was anybody else surprised by the use of the word hell?
No.
I was a little bit.
I think when they established like they play it off a little bit. Oh yeah, there was also an NSA episode with Pinky and the Brain. That's right.
God, yeah, the NSA episode.
Oh yeah, with John
Holy
Snowden.
shit.
Pinky, get John Snowden's plan. Fuck.
Edward Snowden.
Yeah, Edward Snowden.
Edward Snowden. I'm sorry,
John. You know nothing. You know everything, John Snowden.
God damn it. Yeah, that's where my brain went for a hot second.
You know too much, John Snowden.
Fuck.
Anyway,
but that's a weird episode. That is easily the weirdest episode. It
starts off with him getting chased around by like the Yakuza or something.
Oh, by the way, the joke about every Yakuza and their mother, and then literally the mom shows up to get the Yakuza his bento. I was like, that's pretty good.
No, Pinky and the Brain, like, I think they definitely had like the most consistent quality throughout, but that's because the Warner segments were like they were trying to be a bit more experimental and avant-garde with some of them, and a little maybe a little too heavy on political commentary at times. Maybe a little, just un poco.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. The political humor in this season, it's not so much that there was political humor, or even necessarily that there was so much. But I'm gonna be real honest. In some places, it was really lazy. Like honestly, like. This felt like your first draft lazy. It
also is just the problem of we've been dealing with these exact same jokes for 4 years, and yes, they are all fucking true, but it's sad because they are true.
Yeah, like look, it's if your response to jokes about Trump is Orange Man bad, right? And it's like, no, Orange Man is bad. Okay, shut the fuck up. I'm tired of like trying to get around this idea that Trump isn't awful. No, Trump is fucking awful, and I like making fun of him. I just really do kind of feel like in some segments, like, yeah, did we need the Cyclops? I felt like the Cyclops, either you have the Cyclops or you cut some of the other ones. Just because it's like, yes, we get it. Trump is awful, but like, find another target. Like,
I'll be interested to see what they do with next season, though. Like, now that, you know.
Yeah, now that
the obvious punching bag is out of the room.
I kind of hope that, like, fucking every time they bring Biden in, he's just asleep. He's got narcolepsy. He just constantly falls asleep.
Or just be boring.
No, they're going to have to. Anything president, they're going to have to fucking like show off at the show somewhere. So I guarantee you Joe's gonna show up in the next season.
Or we find out that Kamala Harris is literally piloting him.
Or that he was Brain the whole time.
Oh fuck! That actually could fucking work so well. Shit.
Can we talk like Brain's just piloting him Remy style or something? Can we also talk about the fact that in the Pinky and the Brain segments, it feels like they spent a good chunk of this season building up a semi-rogues gallery for Brain.
Yeah, like they had Future Brain. They had what was her name?
Snowball 2.0.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the female mouse.
Julia
Brain. That's right.
Yeah, Julia. By the way, I actually I'm really happy about Julia. Julia Furry Bracky. I swear to God.
Shut up, Bracky.
Yeah. I mean, he's not entirely wrong.
I know.
Look, they got rid of Minerva Mink. They needed something.
Oh man, making me sad. Just reminded me of all the gone characters. Anyway, but yeah, so. Julia, I like Julia. Although, wow.
I was waiting for her to come back again that season. Because they introduced her kind of like in the middle. And I thought like, maybe she'll show up like one more time around the season finale or something. But no.
Nah, that's definitely a next season. Like, she comes back in a big way. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's definitely going to fucking happen by the way they built it up. Because strangely enough, even if they fucking make Pinky and the Brain so like weird and like completely separate from everything, like every episode, the old Pinky and the Brain used to have an actual continuity to it. Like the suit had a fucking plot line. Brain had a plot line and Pinky had a separate plot line. And they actually all fit.
They were also the only show that got their own spin-off and then a second spin-off with Pinky, Elmira, and the Brain, which I don't recall lasting very long.
But remember the fucking remember that third mouse they kept trying to introduce as a gag as their their Larry?
And he kept dying.
I was like, Jesus Christ, this rules.
Oh, that was so good. I'm sorry, like the idea of, like, and I love how he just kept showing back up, and then now I hope he comes back because I just want to see the different ways they kill the spore mouse.
He shows up at random at the beginning of episodes, and it's just like, oh, there he is. Huh, this isn't. Oh, goodbye.
Like even Brain is super happy that he's around. Like that has meaning, and that he's dead.
I'm pretty sure that they introduced him. At the very beginning, it was like Edwin or something, but they introduced him in that one episode with Benedict the Dragon, which, by the way, I love Benedict the Dragon, and I'm sad
couldn't hit you over the head harder with Cumberbatch, could they?
Nope. But I really did like they had that one scene. He shows up for like a couple seconds and then he's gone. And I think they just really liked that joke of like, oh, it's the third mouse who dies. Let's bring him back.
He's always been here.
Because it only makes sense that he would have had like that strong Cockney accent when they were in the medieval times. And then suddenly he comes back and he's still got the accent. So I am almost certain that they didn't plan on bringing him back the first time they wrote him. But then they were like, nah, that joke was really good. We can probably do it a couple more times.
I mean, I probably guarantee you that was just Paul dicking around in the fucking booth for like a hot minute with his Cockney accent. And then they fucking just made a character around it. I could completely see that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Pinky and the Brain this season had a lot of really solid stuff. I think one of my favorite, what was my favorite episode? What was your guys' favorite Pinky and the Brain
Animaniacs?
No, sorry. Pinky and the Brain sequence.
Oh, Pinky and the Brain. Okay. Mine was, oh, God. Well, mine was the 50s one, the blackmail episode.
It's really good. It's the fucking Pink Scare episode. Yeah, yep. That was pretty solid. For me, funny enough, it might be the, oh, God, what was it? It might be the road trip one.
Oh, the one where they got stuck in the driverless car.
Yeah. There's a sequence in that I actually really appreciated. For a moment, they actually got serious, and that was I actually kind of appreciated that. I like when my kids' cartoons can have something emotional in them, something like emotionally resonant.
And then in 180s with fucking Pinky, which was amazing. Just like I can't imagine what they did to you was a picnic. It literally was a picnic.
Yeah, it was not a picnic, right? They tried to get me to figure out if Brie, what the difference between Brie and Camembert was, and I just couldn't.
That was literally a picnic.
I've always found Camembert to be a little bit nutty in my... Wikipedia!
You had a tablet this whole time? Of course, Brian. It's a road trip.
My favorite Pinky and the Brain episode was probably the first one. First of all, like pointing out, yes, everybody's a slave to their cell phone. Haha, there's your commentary there. We all get it, but we can't leave. And particularly, I love the joke. Well, over the past 20 years, Brian, I figured out that our relationship is incredibly codependent on and your violence is just your way to lash out at me, blah, 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 blah. Smacks him on the head. I deserve that.
That was dark.
I know, but I love dark humor, and it made me laugh my ass off.
I laughed very hard at that, but honestly, it was another joke in that segment. Maybe my favorite joke in the entire season, actually. Because I don't know if I laughed any harder than this one particular joke. It's one of my favorite jokes in all of Animaniacs, which is the effects it has on the human brain. Pinky, there's a human you? And I think
it's a human you?
Yeah, the intensity on which he sells it, and the expression on his face, and the immediate violence that follows it, the timing, delivery, execution, it is one of the best jokes in the entire season, and it's so simple and so good.
The one thing about Pinky and the Brain that separates it from Animaniacs is that the writers actually get to like poke fun at the human condition way more than they could in the Animaniacs bit. And that's why I don't know if this speaks more to us as people or our sense of humor, but the fact that Pinky and the Brain can go dark is way like the main reason why I feel it carries way more weight.
Yeah,
and they kind of needed it because again, they got rid of all of those other supporting characters. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure the Good Feathers was kind of played out by the third episode of Good Feathers.
Yeah, okay, I am completely okay with the Good Feathers ultimately not coming back. And even honestly, I hate to say it, I liked Rita and Ralph and Buttons and Mindy.
Rita and Runt,
but both of them.
Oh boy, 2 characters based off of Mice and Men. That goes well in 2020.
Ooh, yeah, actually, good point. But yeah, I'm not surprised that ultimately those didn't come back. However,
Slappy definitely could have.
Slappy could have come back, and I'm still angry that they didn't. And I know why they didn't too. I know why.
Imagine the jokes they could have made with her, because Slappy's whole bit was just kind of making fun of like old movies. They could have been poking fun of movies from the 80s and 90s at that point, and she still could have been relevant.
Dude, the first episode, if they ever brought back Slappy, is going to be she's going to be an Uber driver.
They left it open to bring in her back in one episode, so I'm not saying that they never will, but they definitely did in this season.
I kind of expect why they never will, unfortunately.
Too many Karen jokes?
Nope. The voice actress for Slappy was one of the original writers.
Right.
And considering what they've done with the writers, they're probably like, ooh, can we do that? No.
Well, maybe,
just get Frank Welker to make some chicken noises.
There's nothing to say that they can't bring back a person that would, write for like a segment. They shows change up like crew all the time mid-seasons.
Oh yeah, like if you fucking see like the first season of Rick and Morty and the first season of BoJack Horseman, the fucking teams, they change drastically going into second season.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, the animation team is completely fucking different for BoJack Horseman from season 1 to 2 and onward.
I actually didn't know that.
If you ask me, that could have been a mid-season switch, because like BoJack Horseman season 1 shifts dramatically.
I mean,
at a certain point.
Or they always just run the fucking show on contract because they don't have any like faith that it's actually going to succeed.
Yeah, I'm almost certain, actually. But yeah, so
Rip, Tuca, and Birdie. Who picked them up again?
Adult Swim.
Adult Swim. That's right.
Also, rest in fucking peace, DuckTales. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, that's right. They just fucking announced that like third season is the final one. But I mean, in the same vein, my wife actually put this very bluntly, and I kind of agree with her. How much further can you go when the kids grow up and we don't have anything else to work with? Oh wait, let's just go to Darkwing Duck.
By the
way, that's when you get like fucking Quack Pack or whatever that was.
No!
I haven't seen the finale, so I'm kind of eager to see what happens. But
yeah, I need to catch up. I'm still on like season 2 on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So many streaming services these days, and I'll be honest, after getting Hulu specifically for Animaniacs, I don't feel bad about it, because this show like made it feel worth it. Now I have a billion other things to watch. I
won't lie. I'm very scared about buying another fucking subscription service, though. I'll be candid with you. I watched Guy Jaguma came over to my house for Thanksgiving, and we watched it then. So nice. I was using his account on my smart TV that locks the frame rate at 60, and there's no way to change it.
There is a way to
there isn't. Not for the one I have, because it's a bootleg. So I have been watching Animaniacs at 60 frames per second. It was nightmarish.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, going back to just talking a little bit about the supporting characters. Obviously, like the one I miss the most is, Slappy and Skippy. But are there any like particular supporting characters that you guys miss the most that like just disappeared, like supporting segments that used to happen?
The good idea, bad idea.
Fucking
good idea, bad idea is definitely one that I kind of miss. And Mime Time was pretty fun.
Wheel of Morality would have been so good nowadays.
Yeah, I'm surprised they got rid of Wheel of Morality.
Yeah. Well, they also got rid of the gag at the end of the episode because the fucking streaming service just fucking auto clicks you to the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm gonna be really honest with you. Okay, I liked 2 of those original animation segments. Only 2 of them. The rest of them were just kind of okay.
Which 2?
I think I liked the first one maybe the most, just because of like how like hard it plays, like how dramatically
which was the first one?
That was the one with the apples.
Okay.
The idea of this woman being chased down by the police officer. First of all, it didn't go on too long. It was a quick segment. It was funny. Ended. I liked that. The other ones just kind of went on too long, especially the one with the Elmira ripoff girl and the alien.
I liked that one because it kind of reminded me a little of Midnight Gospel.
Like, I totally get what you're saying there. In fact, that's how I felt while I was watching this. I'm like, this is just somebody with their talking with their daughter in front of a mic, and then they got her to record like a couple of incidental lines.
Yeah, but like, then the alien bits were like actually kind of funny. Like the low humor was actually funny, but then like it gets weird again when the little kid starts talking.
It didn't jive with me. I found it really just meh.
I mean, I'm just a sucker for John DiMaggio screaming like a lunatic, so that's why that gnome bit went with me.
I just don't
know. The gnome bit one was so weird. I don't know what they like, what went into creating that one.
Yeah, I don't like that one because okay, I can dig on surreality. I can dig on a little bit of randomness. But why a gnome that lives in your mouth? Is that based on anything? Is that based on anything? Because dude, otherwise, it's just
the entire concept just kind of screamed of Quantum Leap and absurdity. Like it's Monty Python by way of Quantum Leap.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna assume it's a way that the writers harkened back to Freakazoid and a bunch of other shows because there's a massive gnome presence in the background of all those shows for some reason.
Yeah,
unrealistically, like the big bias for gnomes.
I was gonna say the other one that I really liked was Things That Go Bump at the Night.
Oh yeah, with like just the eyes and then the massive Cthulhuoid eyes opening.
I really liked that because it was this very simple segment, but I really liked the animation for the eyes. Like it was just a really cool style. It was short, simple, effective. Had a oddly a little bit of an odd joke in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really liked that one. I felt it was cute and a little bit more in line with what I'd like to see from segments like that. Something a little less little random and a little bit more like artsy and fun.
I just appreciate that they're experimenting.
I wish that they did more stuff like they did with Dot doing the fucking math theater. Where it was just like, it was math problems just played out like fucking really serious movies. And I'm like, this is outstanding. I want more of this.
Yes, actually.
Yeah, that's the one that Kaiser was talking about, the apples.
Yep.
Yeah, that one was my favorite. And I think that it got to me that hard again because they commit to it. They committed to the idea of like, I'm stealing these apples to feed my family. And now I have 2 apples.
2 apples.
I was like, okay, that's really cute. I like that. And then the preview for the next one is the one train leaves the station at miles per hour, blah, 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 blah.
Solve for X.
How long until they collide? We're gonna die!
Yeah, that, stupendous. I'm a huge fan of shit like that.
It harkens back to, like, sometimes they do things like that in the old Animaniacs. Like when they just had Maurice LaMarche fucking just one for one do the Orson Welles just like doing the outtakes on that one ad he was doing.
Oh, when he gets drunk?
The frozen peas thing or whatever.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, there was a whole Pinky and the Brain episode of just Brain being a fucking asshole in the voice booth. I'm like, this is outstanding.
Why would I put the emphasis on in July? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't want to put the emphasis there. You don't say in July. It's so beautiful because no kid is going to get that. And I didn't when I was a kid. I didn't get it until I watched The Critic later in life.
I didn't get it until somebody pointed out, like, they actually gave me the original recording. And I was like, oh, okay, this is stupendous.
And it's a one-for-one recreation of it, just with Maurice LaMarche doing his Orson Welles impression, which is just his Brain voice.
Which is just Brain, yeah. If you watch The Critic, it's literally just Brain.
With a couple of small lines changed for, reasons.
Yeah,
of course.
For obscenity reasons.
You find me anybody who makes sense of that, and I'll make cheese for you. That's not what he said in the original.
It isn't? Anyway.
This is Triton, you know it.
It's just wonderful that they are still like willing to do things like that, like the math problems, and I hope they do more stuff like that in the future. What was your favorite just Animaniacs segment though, with the Warner Brothers and sister Animaniacs?
Animaniacs.
Okay, I want to talk about Animaniacs, but what did you like about Animaniacs?
Well, obviously the first problem I ran into was, ooh, this is a time capsule episode. Fuck yeah. But just all the jokes when they actually went into Russia, like just the mile per hour jokes they kept doing, like channel reverse 3 or get back into places or 10 years gulag. I'm like, it just kept going and going and going, and all the jokes were just on beat. And if you don't sit there and absorb it all, it's just gonna blindside you. And I loved every bit of that.
I think so. There were some really stupendous jokes in that segment. I know some people have, have talked heavily about Russia's involvement in the 2016 election. By the way, we 100% have proof that Russia did interfere with the election. Anybody who thinks that those jokes are false, no, they 100% did. People were arrested about it. It was a big deal.
Kaiser, lies are just truths that haven't been repeated enough yet.
and if you don't believe that, then lies are just truths that haven't been repeated enough yet. I found that incredibly funny. But that being said, it is a little bit they do know that Russia's not the USSR anymore, right? They do know that like these jokes are incredibly dated and not relevant anymore. Right?
2018, 2 years later, we, like you said before, unfortunately we run into the situation where we've heard these jokes repeated so many times.
I'm talking about these jokes about Russia itself are again from the USSR. This isn't like the Russia nowadays doesn't look in conduct itself like this. I mean, I have not, and I plan not to, because their laws about the gays out there are not good. But like, look, I'm not going to say that Russia's government is good. It's not. It's very bad. And Russia's got a lot of problems. I'm not here to fucking, talk up Russia.
Well, I mean, the Red Scare, the problem is that it's the Red Scare sort of nonsense. Like, it's big Red Scare, and that just, has never went away in U.S. Media. That has never gone away.
And it's just kind of like, guys, you can make fun of Russia. You can come up with a billion jokes about Russia, but why do we keep going back to these particular jokes? And then at the very least, canonizing your errors, fucking Yako's like, I like to think that we taught a whole entire generation about Russian culture, but I know that's not true. And I was like, well, I guess that's sort of recognizing it. But
or the Russian lady, the Russian lady who goes, oh, sorry, but we just have a leader who has a giant ego. Boy, tell us about it, sister.
Actually, I really liked that joke because I am when it comes to talking about other cultures and being critical, I am completely fine with being critical of other cultures' government and their bodies of government and certain laws and ways that they act internationally. But I get a little uncomfortable when you start attacking their people, because I think people in general can be good, can be great, and I don't like the idea of poking fun at a populace without being lighthearted. So at the very least, they go out of their way at the very end and say, Russian people are good. We just have an idiot who's with an overinflated ego in charge. And I'm like, okay, that's better.
That's the game. That's the game director dilemma, unfortunately, where it's just like, oh, Hideo Kojima must have made all this. No, he has a team of 1,100 people behind him. Just because his name's plastered everywhere doesn't mean he made the game himself.
Yeah.
There was one joke in that episode that fucking floored me. When their intern came in to give them coffee and fix the television. He had just an absurd name. I can't remember what it was.
Bradivere.
Yeah, Bradivere.
Yes, Bradivere.
Good as new. See you later. Dome of Kremlin.
It's me, new intern Bradivere. Anyway, fixed good as new. See you later. See you around, Dome of Kremlin types down.
He fucking runs out the water tower. Oh god, that one. I had to stop watching the show just because of that joke alone.
Goes into the fucking writer's room. Maybe he is taking our coffee order. Nah, it can't be. It's noon. The writers have all gone home.
Fucking that joke killed me, that episode. What was your favorite Warner Brothers segment, Kaiser?
Oh, man, that's actually really tough. There were a bunch of them that I actually really did like. I feel very critical about this season because there are actually some things that didn't land very well with me all throughout. But generally, I really liked it. Trying to like take a single segment though is going to be sort of tough because a lot happened that episode, that whole fucking. I think Good Warner Hunting is definitely up there.
Which one was that one?
That was the
Chicken
one where
Boo.
they explain what happened to
Gotcha, yeah. That was definitely the most memorable.
Yeah, actually, sorry. I'm actually looking at all of the oh, you know what? I also have a certain place in my heart for Who Donut. Even though they you know what the ending's going to be. So hard. Like
that one did feel more traditional Animaniacs, and those are kind of the ones that I drifted towards too. I loved the Odyssey one
with Odysseus.
Yeah, the Odysseus one and the game, like the Greek games, because those felt like very classic Warner cartoon to me.
Oh, with the Arnold ripoff,
very very Bugs Bunny. Yeah,
I think the reason I liked personally I liked Who Donut is that I am a piece of hipster garbage trash, and so I really appreciated all of the jokes they made about artisanal donuts. Because I love artisanal donuts. Look, I'll be honest. You know, I like to go to different places and try these really stupid, esoteric bullshit donuts. And yes.
Who wants to go get charcoal ice cream? I do.
I do, though. Charcoal ice cream's delicious.
Oh my God, Scott. Just play into it, why don't you?
drag my yuppie ass. I don't care. At least I can laugh at myself. I will say one of my least... So, you want one of the most polarizing segments in the entire fucking season was for me?
Go.
A zit.
Yeah. They get the same voice actor.
That was a different one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Here's the problem is that I kind of knew what was coming before it happened. They always, like, there's this one voice actor, I forget who his name was, and I'm so fucking mad that I'm blanking on it, but they get the same voice actor in every cartoon, like Family Guy, fucking anything on Fox.
Keith Michael Richardson?
Yeah, Keith Michael Richardson, in his career, in a show, anytime he's in an animated show, he has to play a bodily part. He has to play a blemish or a body function in the cartoon. Everywhere. It's in a fucking contract somewhere. He has to be a body part.
Or an amalgamation of the Little Shop plant.
Yes, he has to. It's always a fucking thing in his contract. He has to do it.
I was going to say, that whole segment, I really, really, really don't like jokes about zits and pimples and anything. It really gets under my skin. It's really gross.
Yeah, but that zit had a dot.
The song was actually really good.
Do you want to know why the song was good?
Why?
Because it was almost like beat for beat the same song that they did like way back in the dun-na-na, dun-dun-na, dun-dun-na, dun-dun-na. They did like almost like to the same tune a really good Animaniacs song back in the day. I just remember Wacko's part. I'm tired. I'm hungry. And it's almost the exact same song. Like that was the only thing I could think of throughout that entire piece.
Wasn't the composer the same from the show? Like I'm gonna sit here and say to myself, I believe that the composer is the same from the '90s show.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm actually.
Yeah, the I'm Mad song.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, you know what? I know the one you're talking about now. Yep. Yeah, you're right.
Huh. Yeah, they follow a very familiar set of tempo and string in a lot of the songs.
So,
which I mean, like that is just a sense of, you know, the same composer, but
mind if I air some of my grievances?
Oh, it's the protege. Real quick, I just want to clean that up. It's the protege of the original composer.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So first thing I want to go over is just the art style in this one. I like the art style, mostly good.
Here we go. The Ren and Stimpy curse. Let's go.
Yeah, one thing not really actually. The thing that they changed that I didn't catch this at first until I started really comparing them was they got rid of shading.
Yeah.
None of the characters are shaded now. And I'm
They're just very flat and clean.
Yeah, and it really bothers me now that every time I see it, I'm like, that's why. It always pulls me out because I was like, why does this look unfinished?
Because traditional cell shading, because that's the reason why. Like when you go from paper to just plain fucking digital, something's gonna give, and a lot of the shadows that came out of the traditional painting, that's all gonna fucking go away.
Yeah, but like literally, they don't do any shading on the characters. Like if you look at the original, they actually have at least two-tone shading, where they have proper like lines and everything, but it's just gone here, and that really I kind of got past it over time, but I was like, I really wish they had, because it kind of gave those characters a little more depth and weight, and I would have appreciated that.
I will say this style does make it seem like they're more expressive, though.
Oh yeah, like the trade-off here, I think, is that now their expressions are bigger and more consistent. They rarely go off model in a bad way. I do like when they go off model in a good way, though.
The way I see it is that without the addition of shading, you no longer have like a visual indicator on what you should be looking at, like indirectly. So when they make things like when a character's head grows the size of a fucking grapefruit to comparison to the screen, then your eyes need to narrow with the size itself, and your eyes have to focus on something that's like in complete contrast with it outside of the shade. So that's the benefit of not having shade on your artwork.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's fair. I guess ultimately, it is one thing that kind of got me as I was watching. It definitely was not a killer for me, though. It did, like, I was able to just kind of process it and move on. But one of the other things is just that I also found, like, when we were talking earlier, some of the jokes, man, some of the like, remember the joke about the polls.
Wait, which one?
The joke about the polls when they were doing the election segment. Which
right.
The timing on that. Oh.
Yeah.
I won't lie. That segment's not very good. Like,
it's always going to be hit and miss.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you're writing something 2 years before the fact. Or after the fact. Like, you're in that weird middle period where politics are going to be at their all-time lowest. Unless something huge happens.
Although I will say one of the most holy shit jokes in the entire season was how did they get a plane so fast for us?
Oh, that's okay. This one travels back and forth daily.
Oh yeah,
and it's Air Force fucking One, and I was like, damn, okay.
I mean, E.T. didn't fucking get you, elect Trump.
That was also. There was some really good wordplay throughout that. As much as I find their take on Russia to be dated and tired, there were still some really good jokes throughout that.
The show Don't Tell is some of the better highlights of the Animaniacs, in my opinion.
Yeah, they have a lot of great background jokes, like things that, like, if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it because it's only visual.
Yeah.
That's something Animaniacs has always done very well. I admit that I don't pay a lot of attention to social media, but how has the backlash been to this show just due to the overt politicization of it?
It was, okay, so just before it came out, it was at its highest peak of like, this is going to be the worst, left, right, politics, everything. But then the second that it came out and everyone watched it, it all fucking just went away. Like there's barely any problems with the show right now.
I think, well, I've still seen some reactions to it. I've seen some reactions on both sides. There are a lot of, like, again, there are some people who are kind of mad that they're calling out Trump so much. Again, Trump is awful. He's a great target. And I'm totally fine with them dragging his ass.
Easiest punching bag.
Yeah, yeah. He should be dragged. I'm sorry. I'm not going to hold back on this. Fuck him.
It's almost like he made himself a global pariah.
Yeah. Like, look, Clinton was also bad. Clinton was actually bad.
And they poke fun at her, too.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I meant Bill Clinton. They don't really do anything with Hillary Clinton. I think they were a little bit shy to do that.
No, they made a few jokes there.
Yeah. But, yeah, I'm sorry, but Trump, make jokes about Trump. But on the other hand, like, so there were so many times where I just felt like they were really phoning some of this stuff in, because it felt like in some sequences were late night television jokes. You know, the boom zing gotcha, and when they're just like, okay, that's moderately funny in a sea of other jokes. Okay, I guess if that one doesn't land, we can just move on. But it's just like, okay, we get it. Trump was at the time president, and we got all these jokes that you really want to get out about him. And I'm glad they found other targets throughout. That was my bigger problem. Is like, can we gotta...
Yeah, like they found like a couple, but not a lot.
Again, like the Tuck Buckerson, fuck Tuck Carlson, fuck Carlson, fuck him. He's the worst. He is a piece of absolute garbage. So the fact that they actually went out of their way to make fun of him, I was like, oh, thank you guys.
I mean, like, the problem is, like, you say they don't have a lot of targets, but I'm just like, do you think the audience or, like, people who get mad about this show are going to get even more fucking butthurt if it was Alex Jones?
I am legitimately surprised. You know what? I think the only reason that they didn't make any Alex Jones jokes, you just don't want to put the man in the zeitgeist. Yeah, like, I think they just were like, I don't think I want to do that with him.
I mean, then that adds to the whole fact where it's like picking and choosing your targets. Like, yeah, I feel like the writers have, especially for the fact that they're only having 13 episodes and they're on a time crunch, that they only have a set amount of targets to work with. So go for the low hanging fruit, but also go for ones that might actually, like, you know, be relevant to the time zone and not really so much the times.
Yeah, no, then that's fair.
And there was really only like one real movie parody episode, which they did a lot of on old Animaniacs, but they did it in the Halloween episode. They did one on It.
Oh, that was so good.
It is probably, it's up there as one of my favorite Warner's segment.
Yeah, actually, I kept meaning to go back to that one, because as I was watching it, I'm like, this is so strange, but it got some of the biggest laughs out of me in the entire season.
That episode was like one of the time capsule episodes for me, unfortunately. I'm just like, oh my God, that's right. It was a thing. It was a reboot.
Yeah, but at the same...
It was a thing, but I think the way they did it was like it's fairly timeless, because I think it is... While maybe Bill Skarsgård's It is not going to go down in history the same way that Tim Curry's did, it's still
unforgettable.
It's strong enough imagery to keep that episode afloat. And the jokes they made within it were very strong, playing on what are the Warner Spheres, and
I found it the
way they played around it.
I found it very fascinating that Yakko was the only one who fell.
Yeah.
And also, he wants to, like, he's insecure about whether or not people find it funny. That's cute. I like that.
I loved Dots, where it's just like, that's right, everyone ages. You leave. Goes back to looking at the mirror of herself as an old lady. You gonna adopt some cats, mama? Yeah, bye.
Yeah, it transforms from Tress MacNeille doing a voice bit to her just talking normally, and I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
She was doing her crazy cat lady voice from The Simpsons.
Oh yeah. But no, I feel like that was also a gag on the fact that like the voice actors may have aged a little bit, and I feel like Tress just played with that in a big way, and I actually kind of like that gag.
It actually really showed on Paulson's part at times. Like,
Paulson,
you could hear the age in his voice.
Paulson was the biggest fucking like subject of like age got to him.
Yeah, I did a comparison.
Only as Yakko, though. Only as Yakko. As Pinky, he sounded fine.
Yeah.
I actually did a comparison where I was actually watching a bit of Yakko's Wish. Because I was like, I want some classic Animaniacs. So I found it, was watching it, and I'm like, oh my God, Yakko sounds amazingly young in this. Like, you know, he's all the way up here, and he's, you know, very conversational.
Well, we also got...
he's all, you know, he can't seem to go above here.
Well, we also gotta give credit where credit is due. The man did go through throat cancer.
Oh no, that it is not a criticism. It is merely an acknowledgement
it's an observation.
Yeah,
not a criticism.
Yeah. And Jess didn't change at all, because Jess actually had to act as Wakko. Like from the start, Wakko was always a voice that Jess had to do. So he never changed.
Oh shoot! You know what? Before we wrap this up, I do want to go over the songs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, because there were a lot of them. I felt like there was a musical like segment almost every episode.
Not every episode.
Like every two.
It felt like it.
It didn't hurt or help that there were 2 in the first episode.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite. Okay, so I wish there had only been 2 songs or 1 song in the opening, but both of them were relevant. Although if I had to pick between the 2, I would have easily gone with Reboot It.
I actually don't like
Reboot It. Renew it.
Oh wow, I'm the only guy in the room here. I didn't like that one.
Really?
I like the first one way better.
Oh, the 2020 catch-up song?
Yeah, the 2020 catch-up was way better than Reboot It.
It did have a better setup.
Yeah, I definitely like that setup. I think the reason personally that I didn't like that one as much is that it's the second part where they're like, now we're just gonna guess what happened. It wasn't as funny to me. Like I didn't find that part all that clever.
Plus, Reboot It did have like a better tune to it, I think, like catchier.
Also, I like its satire a little bit more because I like the idea of no, we're gonna go hardcore poking fun at reboots when they when they bring out like Chimera superhero and then he just literally starts vomiting money. I'm like, this is fantastic.
And here's where they filmed Batman. Ooh, versus Superman.
Oh.
One of the best jokes in the entire season, and also just, I won't lie, get fucked, Batman versus Superman, you suck, and WB acknowledging that is a goddamn slam dunk.
What wasn't it?
WB continues to acknowledge it. They acknowledged it in Harley Quinn as well.
Wasn't one of the episodes where Yaka was just like, "Hey, Zack Snyder, this is a fucking 8-minute show. Get moving."
Hey, Zack Snyder, 7-minute segment. Wrap it up, would ya?
Yep, that gag fucking slayed me. I was about that one.
Hey, man, as somebody who loves making fun of Zack Snyder, hell yeah. Oh.
Yeah, there was a lot of musical segments. I even liked the Brains one where he's singing to his robot boy.
His robot son. The only difference,
you were
father.
Down here. You wanted to be up here.
They did make that joke a lot, where it's just like that was their go-to joke at the end of most of the songs. You were a little flat.
Yeah, probably because the writers probably weren't talking too close to each other. There were a couple of jokes that they just kind of unintentionally repeated here and there.
Yeah,
but yeah,
unlike you, father, I will live forever.
I will never die.
I will never die.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, that whole segment, man, there's a lot of really good segments, and there's some not so good. But you know what?
It's still definitely worth checking out in my book.
Yeah, the thing is that it takes the bad and the good, but so did the old Animaniacs. So literally, beyond the fact that there's a lot of obvious changes, it's more of the same, and that's not a bad thing.
I will say I will say this. I really don't like the last segment they ended the season on.
What, Hindenburg Cola?
No, they ended it on the Flotus song.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, first of all, okay, like, look, you want to do a song all about the First Ladies of the United States? Cool. Please actually do that song. Don't make it all about, oh, wait, I only have 2 minutes, now I have to finish in 2 minutes.
The meta of singing it rather than the actual subject matter.
Yeah, I would have actually really liked a fun song all about the actual First Ladies and not this race to the finish line where they had to skip over other facts that might have been fun and had Dot's actress singing so fast that most of the jokes kind of fly by. That kind of sucked. I was like, wait, no, this was the kind of songs you guys used to do, and now you're just not actually going to do it?
Especially when you're on a fucking streaming network and are unconstrained by an actual time limit.
Well, again, these will be airing.
I know they'll be airing on other places, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Honestly, they should have just cut something, either put it in another episode, cut something from another segment. I would have just preferred that to have actually been its own thing rather than, like, I don't know. Again, less about the meta, more about the actual content.
Well, remember, this is first season, and first season jitters is basically either this succeeds or fuck you, get kicked to the curb.
I think they actually are guaranteed 2 seasons.
They were guaranteed 2, yes.
They make that joke in the opening credits. So
yeah. I I am looking forward to the second season because I do think it's going to be a stronger season altogether. And first, no more Trump jokes. I mean, probably.
Yeah,
there's still going to be Trump jokes.
Yeah, there'll still be some Trump jokes.
There probably will be, but it'll be interesting to see how what they do without him in office.
Yeah, which again, I like making fun of him. Let's move on.
I like to actually imagine that there's going to be an episode where they actually they go, all right, Trump's out now, Joe. Fuck, we have nothing on Joe right now.
What can anybody tell us anything about Joe Biden?
Does anyone have a joke about Joe? Anyone?
Is there? Do we know facts about him?
Why isn't he tweeting?
The writers are just like, he won't tweet. Why won't he tweet?
Why won't he tweet?
Is he alive? He's just in bed. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for the Talkcast Podshow. What's your favorite Animaniacs segment from either this or the previous? Do you think this one lives up to all the expectation and hype that's been going in it? Please let us know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening on any podcast providing service, we're happy to have you with us. Thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you guys next time on the Talkcast Podshow. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
Don't.